Today we're talking about Secret Level, the new TV series that is coming out on Amazon Prime October 10th, exclusively for Prime members. There are a wide variety of episodes that are coming out, but today I want to hone in on New World and use this as a chance to set up the upcoming show. And before it comes out, I want to toss out my idea on what I think will happen. Of course, after the show airs and I watch it, I'll make another video either absolutely decimating my theory saying it was awful, or maybe discussing what the show implies, which of course I think we're going to be doing that regardless. But to wrap up a few key points about it, Secret Level, again, coming out October 10th, and it will be a video series covering a wide variety of very popular video games to include Mega Man, Armored Core, God of War, Warhammer, and even Dungeons and Dragons. From what I've seen, all episodes will be released on December 10th. And I don't believe it's confirmed, but I did see somewhere that the New World episode will be about 17 minutes long. Hopefully that's wrong and it's 3 times as long, because I'm really looking forward to it. The series is from the Deadpool director Tim Miller, and although there are a wide variety of actors that are going to be making appearances, such as Keanu Reeves in Armored Core, the one we'll hone in on is that Arnold Schwarzenegger will be voicing Aelstrom, who is the center character in the New World episode. This episode is going to detail Aelstrom and his appearance on Aeternum, and will ultimately tell the story that results in why he is not accepted in the local city. To begin, when we talk about Aelstrom, understand that not a lot is known about this character. I believe that is one of the primary reasons that Amazon has decided to make a series about Aelstrom, in addition to the fact that, technically speaking, the moment you are officially able to take control of your character and be given free roam into the world of Aeternum, Aelstrom is the first NPC that you come in contact with and are able to start a questing dialogue with. So in addition to the fact that he is kind of the first one you really begin questing with, he also is somebody that is very shrouded in mystery and does not have a lot of lore behind him. Having said that, I have 2 running theories for Aelstrom. And of course, the first one is boring and I don't like it, but the second one is a stretch and I really hope it's true. Although there are a few things said in the trailer that make me think otherwise, but still, I hope it's true. So let's jump in. My first running theory is that Aelstrom is his own person, not linked to any historical character. Scavella and him land on this island, discover that they are immortal, and begin fighting their way to become royalty. As it currently stands, I've done plenty of research to look into the name Aelstrom in history, and nothing is coming up. I can't find anything on any royalty, any princes, anything. And running into the fact that he speaks about himself in third person in the trailer as Aelstrom, there is a good theory there that his name actually is Aelstrom, and he's not renaming himself in Aeternum. Of course, it also seems like when he dies and he awakens on the island, that is the first time it has happened, which means that short video is showing one of the first interactions that we see with him. Presumably, he's not been on the island very long, so his name was not something else even on the island. So Aelstrom is the only thing that has ever been known about this man on the island. Before we get into the trailer and a couple of the things that I noticed in the trailer that I wanted to discuss, let's discuss my second theory, and the one that I actually really enjoy. And actually, before the trailer came out that kind of showed a few things that might contradict it, it was my current running theory on who Aelstrom actually is. And that is, I believe Aelstrom is King Arthur or King Artorias. When you play through the main campaign, you will hear about the High King who takes over Monarch's Bluff and unites it. And around the same time of him coming through, he has a personal advisor that comes through with him named Mirrodin. And Mirrodin, of course, we know, eventually gets overrun by the corrupted and is, as far as we understand, one of the first vessels that the corruption takes as its primary leader. Of course, the current one being Isabella. And he takes on this vessel and then immediately begins attacking King Arthur, also known as the High King, also possibly known as King Artorias, and eventually results in pushing him all the way to the shoreline. When we go into our documents section of our journal and we go into the Tales of Monarch's Bluff, there are 3 specific journals that we will be reading through to help draw on this conclusion, in addition to a variety of cinematics that we experience in our gameplay. To first put a placeholder on time frame, when we read King Arthur's arrival, the first entry, you see at the bottom that it says no signature, but the author was a high-ranking military officer who served a noble named Darius 1,000 years ago. As it currently stands, we are in year 1609, which would put this journal entry around year 600, which, if you know your history, it is rumored that if King Arthur existed, his time frame would be somewhere between the years 475 to 550, which, as we know, when a person disappears in our world, that is usually when Amazon adds them into their timeline. So they die or disappear in our world because they ventured into the world of Aeternum. Of course, Lucius Artorius Castus is a historical figure as well, and history places him around the late 5th century to early 6th century. So somewhere between the years 450 to 600. So altogether, somewhere between the year 400 and 600, we can place not only Artorias, but King Arthur as disappearing from our historical texts. And that adds up perfectly with the High King arriving in Aeternum. Of course, the other part that we can assume links this High King to King Arthur is in the 3rd journal entry, the Eternal Blade, where they talk about a master craftsman being asked to use the High King's blade to strike an anvil, and the blade bore no mark, which of course we can kind of assume that this might be Excalibur. When we come to the 3rd journal entry and we go to the 2nd page, we actually reach the main journal entry where I draw kind of my hop and skip theory that the High King is Aelstrom. And that is this page from Captain Ulfric, who talks about the siege of the corruption against the High King. And here on the 2nd part, it says, "We've been betrayed. The Crimson Sorcerer has revealed himself. It is said he commands the infernal hordes. God in heaven, we are lost. The High King has retreated to the shore. They say the raven-haired fights by his side. May God see him safely away from this accursed island, and may he have mercy on our souls." I believe that Aelstrom was the High King, that he came to this island through Monarch's Bluff and took over Pridewind as its king. 1,000 years ago he did this, and after a number of years, maybe 100 years or so, possibly less, Mirrodin overthrew him, ran him out, and killed everybody he knew. He retreated to the shoreline, and over time, I believe he either forgot who he was, or maybe decided to take on a new persona in the form of Aelstrom. It is my theory that the High King came to this land 1,000 years ago, and possibly another 500 years or so after that is when we will pick up on the story of Secret Level, when Aelstrom has spent hundreds of years creating a new persona and possibly deciding that he wants to retake the throne. Again, all of this is very, very fan theory, and I am hopping and skipping to make a lot of these assumptions. I understand that the voice actor for Aelstrom was selected to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is very different from a British accent like King Arthur, or even what we could possibly maybe consider to be a Roman accent, such as King Artorias. But I am very up to the fact of being wrong. I just think it's a fun theory to think of this. And I'm interested to know your thoughts as well. So leave them down below in the comments. And it's perfectly fine if you 100% disagree with me or even have something that proves that I am wrong. I am all for it. Now, moving from that into what we see in the trailer, the primary thing that I wanted to touch base on that kind of further cements my theory too is the link between corruption that we see in the video, as well as the history of the High King, as well as Aelstrom and their connection to the corruption. Of course, we already know the High King's link to the corruption in the fact that his primary advisor becomes the Crimson Sorcerer, overcome by corruption and ultimately throwing him out of power. Then, when we come back and crash land on the island and take control of our character for the first time, we run into an Aelstrom who is hell-bent on removing the corruption from the shoreline. In the secret level video, we get a few very short scenes that show this one person dressed in very interesting armor that is clearly using the corruption. So the fact that these two characters, as well as the Aelstrom we know now and the Aelstrom in the video, are linked all by corruption is just another point that I think kind of secures that theory. And honestly, guys, that is really all I have. That is my current running theory about Aelstrom linking to who he is. And man, I really hope it's true because I think that would be fascinating. Of course, I think there is a way for them to be able to have this series and not completely disprove my theory that the High King could also be Aelstrom. And that's because Aelstrom could have gone away for hundreds of years after the High King was defeated and run to the shore, and either forgot who he was or completely took on a new persona of Aelstrom and left behind that failure. So them picking up with secret level hundreds of years after these events, if that is when this timeline takes place, we could see an entirely new character that links in no way to the High King. But having said that, I am open for all theories. Please post them down below. Cut my theory to pieces and prove me wrong. I would love it. Come back after the 10th when I will post a video reviewing my thoughts on secret level, as well as getting more into the lore, if there is any, on what exactly is going on. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, I would greatly appreciate if you liked the video. Comment down below again with your thoughts. And if you feel I earned it, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one.